Hey everyone, this is PB and I've been a Vega player since Season 1 and since the beta, and I've been playing Vega for all my life. So here are some requested changes and changes that I want to see for Vega in Season 4. I don't need all of these changes, but at least a handful of these would put Vega much higher on the tier list, would help him in his bad matchups, be more fun to use, and a lot of other Vega players who are great would have more success with the character in tournament. Alright, here we go. So the first change I want Vega to have is less pushback on his lights, on hit only. So basically that would give him a lot of combos that would actually work. The next change I'd want is less pushback on his crouching light punch and claw and clawless, so he actually has a tick throw while the opponent can't walk back. The next change would be less pushback on his crouching medium kick, allowing for certain combos and strings to always land. The next change I would want is from Street Fighter 4, where his EX wall dive, or his flying Barcelona attack, will hit crouching opponents when they're close enough, and having the hitbox size increased to allow cross-up setups. A big problem with Vega is his rolls. His light kick, crimson terror, medium kick, and heavy kick is that they are too slow on startup, and the first hit of it doesn't move far enough to allow certain whiff punishes and certain combos to work all the time. A unique change that could help Vega a lot is having his claw crouch medium punch be special cancelable like in Street Fighter 4. Essentially what you would combo into would be medium ASE, medium EX wall dive, medium kick roll. It would increase the use of medium kick roll, which you don't see a lot from Vega players already, and it would give purpose to a move that's underutilized. The biggest problem with Vega's Crimson Terror is his light kick version. The problem with it is that it gives too much pushback, so you're not able to follow up consistently against the opponent, or to cause pressure, or to give advantage to Vega enough to make the opponent worry about your options. A common complaint with Vega is his stand heavy punch claw. It has a very specific range where it won't hit. I only want the animation to match the hitbox. So when I see I can hit Ryu, I should always be hitting Ryu. I want the hitboxes changed to match the animation a lot more, including his crouching medium punch poke, which I might even say requires a new animation to increase the range a little bit further. I want Buster Claw reworked almost completely. I think it's a really niche move that has a lot of weaknesses for the reward that you try to get from it. I think toning it down in its reward by increasing the speed and recovery would help it immensely and make it more useful in more situations and give Vega a truly good poke from long range. One aspect is to remove the crush counter properties of the move. You don't get much follow-up anyway, and without crush counter you still get a V-trigger follow-up. I would make it a lot faster overall. So make it from 13 frame startup to 10. Instead of minus 14 on block, make it minus 5. Make the recovery, instead of 24 frames, 16 frames. And give it one more active frame instead of just 2. Vega should be dominant in the long range. That's why he wears a claw. That's why he's always been in every Street Fighter game. Why not in 5? This might be kind of picky, but I want Vega's Mercury Shard, his overhead, to actually be airborne during the animation where he's off the ground. He can be thrown at any time during, before, or after the recovery of his overhead. He can also be hit low as well. A small thing I want changed for Vega's rolls is having the meter build for each hit of the roll itself, instead of following the kick. This would give situations where you normally would build critical art if all the rolls land, if the roll landed, but you can't cancel into super on the kick, only during the roll itself. Now with Vega's command grab. While it is a command grab, and command grabs are scary in this game, it carries the same recovery as all other command grabs, with little to no reward. I propose a simple change. Make it 5 frame startup instead of 6. Increase the damage for all the command grabs. This is light punch. 130 damage, 200 stun, where his forward throw 140 and 170. I propose making his damage on his command grabs higher overall, keeping the stun the same, so his light punch would be as follows: 170, medium punch would be 180, heavy punch would be 190, and EX would be 200 damage, matching the amount of stun it would do. I also would like EX command grab to get more advantage on knockdown, just in a few more frames, so you would be able to do another regular command grab or another EX command grab as a true meaty. This is a small change, but I would like Heavy Punch ASE to actually be invulnerable to airborne strikes, or make it 10 frame startup instead of 12, as it is slightly slow, and once you lose the claw, you lose a really strong anti-air. That's hard to execute. Although I would like both. I think his V-scale is quite alright, but it lacks in what it used to be used for in Season 1. I would like the projectile invincibility frames to come back slightly, or be increased further, just to help with his anti-zoning game, as he doesn't really have anything outside of super that's consistent. Let's move on to his V-triggers. So V-trigger 1 I think is pretty good, but not in comparison to the rest of the cast. So to balance this, I want to increase the damage to 170 for all the V-triggers. Currently, only crouch V-trigger, Rojo, does 170, or does 180. So I'd like the other two to be brought up to 170, keeping the amount of stun to 150, and reducing the damage on Rojo to 170 to equalize it. I'd also like two roses instead of just a single activation, kind of like Colleen's V-trigger 1. I do like the way that activates, and I think that would fit perfectly for Vega's V-trigger 1. And finally, I also like a higher juggle state, enough so that I could do a raw wall dive and combo in the same situation. It wouldn't need much, just a few more frames maybe, I'd say about 8 or 10, and you should be able to land it and then get a mix-up or a combo, whatever you'd like. That would make his V-trigger 1 much stronger and much more usable in more matchups. V-trigger 2, Alegrias, a great addition to Vega's tool set in Arcade Edition, with a few slight problems. It has less problems than V-trigger 1 for sure, but I feel like it's kind of niche in some matchups and in some areas. While it doesn't give you the full screen conversion off most of Vega's pokes because of a lack of movement in the Alegrias animation, it does give you some good defensive options in frame traps, delayed buttons, and anti-airs. I would improve this by giving 2 times to counter or do the follow-up, because currently you only get 2, you only get 1, and your V-trigger is gone. I also would like 3 attempts to whiff instead of just the 2. And the last thing I want is just for the V-trigger activate itself to have less recovery so I can combo into more things and bet more situations off of activation. Finally, let's talk about his Bloody Rain. His super is fine. I don't think the problem is that it's not invincible at all. I just think that the uses for it are very limited to what you can do. Since it is anti-fireball, you can't really use it for too much other than a close-up here, fireball reaction punish. If you go from further away, it'll whiff. So what I propose is to make it hit close crouching opponents about here, just like with EX Wall Dive, being able to hit crouching opponents, and always track properly on the second hit, even when the opponent is in the corner. Finally, the last thing, if you increase the strength of his claw stance in Street Fighter V Arcade Edition in Season 4, maybe a change could be to have the claw be able to be picked up again? Because sadly, Clawless Vega by itself doesn't equal to much strength so far. Thank you for watching my video on the changes I want for Vega in Season 4 of Street Fighter V. I really hope Capcom implements at least a handful of these changes, as I said earlier, and I really would appreciate some honest feedback from Capcom themselves, because I really don't understand why they're so afraid of buffing Claw. And I'm so sick and tired of the constant nerfs to the character throughout the season, and the mediocre to mild buffs that he did receive throughout the seasons after his initial Season 1 nerf into Season 2. It's really not going to help the character much if there's only slight buffs in his future. Please send this out, share this with your friends, and let me know what you guys think below in the comments. I've been PBGeki, thanks so much, be kind to one another, take care.